Change your state and change your life. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where you were feeling stuck? You were trying to force a certain outcome and you were just hustling and grinding hard towards a certain goal, and you just felt stuck in patterns of doubt, procrastination, and feeling a sense of stress and overwhelm? Well, if that's you, then this is definitely for you, because in this video, I'm going to be discussing one of the most powerful tools that you can use to transform your life, that I've used to transform my life, that's based on human behavioral psychology and neuroscience, and that can allow you to really create a breakthrough in your life. So for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Damien Vandermeer, and I help young adults to transform their mindset, to heal from the past, to embody their full potential, and to create the life that they truly love. Now, today's video is going to really allow you to make a breakthrough in your life. And I truly believe that if you apply this technique into your life, that you're going to see some amazing results. Now, the first thing that we really need to understand is that if you're already currently aware, if you're already doing the inner work, you've already done some healing practices, some meditation, some yoga, you've already done some mindset reprogramming, you've already created a vision for your life, then you've already accomplished the first step. You've already got dreams, you've already got awareness, right? But the thing is we need to become more aware of our present state of being, because our present state of being actually creates the results in our lives, because our beliefs and our thoughts then lead to certain emotions, which then lead to certain actions, which then create results in our experiences, right? So how do we identify what state of being that we're in? Well, there are two common states of being, and you can't be in two states at once. So you're either in an empowered and an expanded state of being, or you're in a contracted and disempowered state of being. So empowered and expanded states of being make you feel good, and disempowered, contracted states of being make you feel terrible, right? So expanded states of being look like things like love, compassion, kindness, freedom, fun, excitement, and flow, right? And contracted, disempowered states of being look like fear, stress, anxiety, limitation, procrastination, feeling not good enough, overwhelm, that sort of thing, right? So we need to start to become aware and tune in to what state of being that we're presently in. Is it a state of being where we feel like we have to hustle and grind because we don't feel like we're as far along as we're supposed to be? Or, are we feeling a sense of lack in our lives? Are we feeling like we don't have enough? Are we feeling like we're not good enough? Are we feeling like, that we're not worthy of success, that we're not worthy of great things in life, right? So really being able to identify the experiences that are in your life that you're attributing certain meanings and thoughts to, right? Because the patterns of thoughts that you're giving to certain situations are what's creating the experience, or what's creating your state, right? So, for example, if you're going through some sort of experience in your life where you're not feeling good enough and it's stopping you and preventing you from being able to put your message out there, from being able to start your own business, and really being able to create a thriving, successful business, then that is the experience. That is just a fact, right? But then the thoughts and the meanings that you give to that experience are what determine the outcome and the result that you have, and the feeling that you have surrounding that circumstance or experience, right? So if you think about your experience and you have thoughts like, I'm nowhere near where I need to be, I'm never going to be able to transform these limiting beliefs, these limiting beliefs are going to affect my future, or I'm going to miss out if I don't keep hustling and grinding and working harder, then that's going to create a disempowered, contracted state of being. It's going to create a state of being of fear, of lack, of, distress. It's going to make you feel out of alignment, right? So really being able to recognize where you're putting your attention and your focus, that is your superpower. Because when you're in an expanded state of consciousness, when you're in a state of non-resistance, that's going to allow new things to enter your life. That's going to allow new thoughts, new ideas, new opportunities, new synchronicities to start flooding into your life. much faster than you ever thought was possible. But it only happens when you're in non-resistance, right? When you're in a state of flow, when you're in your natural state of being, which is unconditional love, peace, and abundance, right? Because our highest potential is where we are most aligned. And that is our natural state. When we're in an unstoppable state of mind, when we're feeling like we can accomplish anything because we are source. We have the infinite potential of source within us. We are source. Source is running through us, for us, and is allowing us to express the fullest expression of who we are, right? And that is our full potential. And that is really our purpose, right? When we're having fun, when we're loving every moment, that is living with purpose, right? So we need to first understand what's then holding us back and what meanings we're ascribing to certain situations, certain experiences in our life that are actually holding us back, that are actually making us feel disempowered, that are making us feel like we're not good enough, that are making us feel like, that we should be much further along than we should be, right? Those are the things we have to look at, because your state of being determines the types of results that you get in your life. So this is going to take a bit of practice, right? But once you start to practice this more and more, you start to practice it on the daily, then you'll start to get better at it. It's like a muscle. It's like working muscles in the gym. After 100 days in the gym, then you'll start to see some real results. You're not going to see results after the first or second day, right? So it's really just about staying consistent. It's about being able to use these tools like your soul depends on it, because it really does, right? And it's about just being so aware and conscious of your present state of being that it's going to allow you to then shift your focus and your attention. And it's not about escaping the emotion. It's not about trying to escape that experience. It's about seeing that same experience from a different perspective. So using everything that's inherently negative and changing it into a positive meaning allows you to be able to use those things that are happening to you as a positive, as a benefit. So for example, I'm so grateful that I've had these limiting beliefs and these experiences, because it's now allowed me to find these next level tools and these solutions that are going to help me to grow, that are going to help me to rapidly evolve, right? That are going to help me to create incredible results in my life and business, right? Because if you didn't have the limiting beliefs in the first place, then you wouldn't be here. Then you wouldn't be experiencing this journey, because it's all about the journey, right? That's what personal growth is. It's about the journey towards enlightenment, towards, finding your path, towards embracing your full potential, towards creating the life that you love, right? And it's about becoming the version of yourself more and more each day that's aligned with the version of yourself that you want to be, the version of yourself that's already experiencing that dream life now. And that's why I say in my other videos that it's so important to have a clear vision. But we're going to be going into that on another video. But today we're just going to be focusing on how you can really apply this into your life, and how you can really just start to become consciously aware of your present state of being, because that's ultimately what's going to determine your reality, right? Because your perception of reality, is your personal reality, right? So it requires you to be able to check in with yourself on a daily basis, be able to check in and say, okay, well, how am I feeling right now? How am I feeling about this certain circumstance or situation? Without judgment, being able to look at it and observe it from a neutral perspective. And that's really going to allow you to just tune in to your actual awareness, because you are pure awareness, right? You are not your thoughts. You're not your beliefs. You're not your past. You're not your actions, right? You are the awareness that is observing and witnessing these things. So being able to tune into that infinite awareness and being able to allow that observation to be, allow yourself to observe yourself from that neutral space, that's going to allow you to see where you're spending your focus and your energy and your attention. So for example, if you're experiencing a contracted state of being, right, just asking yourself, okay, what outcome am I attached to right now? What is it that I believe that I'm lacking in this moment? Or, what am I trying to control right now? And by doing that self-inquiry and by just observing it from a neutral space, without judgment, without attachment, without reaction, that's going to allow you to see, okay, this is what I can learn from that. And then it's just literally showing you how to get yourself back into alignment. That's what the negative meanings are about, right? It's about being able to contrast between, okay, where am I out of alignment here? What meanings am I ascribing to this situation? What thoughts am I having about this situation? And how can I turn these thoughts and this meaning into a more empowering thought? When I get into this same situation next time, how can I see this from a more empowered state of being? How can I change the meaning into something that's potentially negative, that's putting me into a contracted state of being, into something that is empowering and it's putting me into an expanded state of being, right? So, but if we never learn from our experiences, if we never learn from, recognizing what state of being that we're in, then it's not going to change. It's just going to keep throwing us the same challenges and the same cycles, and we're going to keep going through the same patterns over and over and over again until we learn. That's what it's about, because everything in life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. And any experience that you've had in your past, if you're emotionally attached to it, by releasing that attachment to it, you can then turn that experience into wisdom. And then you can use that experience to then be a testimony if someone else is going through the same thing, to help them through something. And that requires a certain level of awareness, right? It requires you to observe from a neutral state, because what happens when you're in a neutral state of non-resistance, that allows that energy to move through you. But if you try and attach to it, if you try and ascribe certain meanings to it and judge it and label it and react to it, then that's like hitting the subscribe button on all of those negative emotions, right? And then the universe goes, oh, okay, he likes this, so let's just give him more of it, right? That's exactly how it works. It works like an algorithm. Like on YouTube, if you go and click on a certain number of videos, like, for example, you click on a whole bunch of car videos, then it's going to keep showing you car videos, right? And if you watch those videos all the way to the end, it's going to go, oh, okay, he really likes car videos, so we're going to show him more and more of that, right? So it's really about what you're subscribing to and what meanings that you're giving the situations and circumstances in your life, and the thoughts that you're having surrounding those circumstances. For example, for me, I always used to feel like, I couldn't put my message out there. I would always procrastinate. I would always hold myself back. I would always feel a sense of fear within me that my message wasn't valuable enough. And that was making me feel in a contracted state of being. It was making me feel fear, anxiety. It was making me feel stressed and overwhelmed, feeling like I wasn't good enough, right? But then when I was able to really transform the meaning behind it and the thoughts that were surrounding that experience, that's when I was able to change the state that I was in. And I changed it to things like, I'm exactly where I need to be. I have a valuable message to share with the world, and that I am enough just as I am, and that I was born valuable, and that my message can help other people to expand and to grow, can help other people to experience a breakthrough in their life. So that led me to a more empowered state of being, a state of flow, a state of peace, a state of abundance, a state of love, right? Which then leads to new actions and new results. So just take a look at the experiences that you have in your life and know that the experience is not what's creating the state. It's the meaning and the thoughts that you're giving to that experience, that you're ascribing to that experience. That's what's creating your state of being. And just be able to check in with yourself each day and start practicing this like your soul depends on it. because this is the master key to being able to really transform your life and experience real transformation and to create a breakthrough in your life. Because 99% of people don't do this. 99% of people out there don't do this work. So really use it to your advantage, because this is super valuable, and this is based on human behavioral psychology. This is based on neuroscience, and this just works. And this is so much more powerful than any other technique that I've ever used. So just go and apply it to your life and see what happens, because you will be astonished at the kind of results that you get. And really the final step is to be able to find evidence for these new beliefs, right? Find evidence for the meanings that you're giving these experiences, right? The new meanings that help you get into an empowered state. For example, what is the evidence to support the fact that I'm exactly where I need to be? What is the evidence to support the fact that I am overcoming and transforming these limiting beliefs and that they're not going to affect me in my future? What is the evidence to support the fact that I am enough and that I do have a valuable message to share with the world? What is the evidence to support the fact that, change is inevitable and that everything I want is coming into fruition? And that's really going to allow you to ingrain and crystallize these new belief systems into your subconscious. So whatever it is that you're going through in your life, whether it's, you want to transform your relationships, your finances, your health, your career, your business, you want to find more purpose in your life, whatever it is, whether you're wanting to just make a breakthrough and transform your limiting beliefs, all of those things are absolutely possible when you can get into a state of non-resistance, when you can get into a state of being that reflects the results that you want, right? So that might mean just role-playing as if you already are financially free, that you already have the relationship of your dreams, that you already have a multi-million-dollar thriving business. And by just relaxing and just being calm around that whole situation will allow new things to come to you. Stop trying to push it so hard, because that's what's creating that resistance. So no matter who you are, no matter what you've been through in your life, this tool can definitely work for you. And if you're looking to go further, if you're looking to really take that next step in creating the life that you love and accelerating your personal growth journey, healing from the past, and being able to step into your full potential, then I'd like to invite you to join my free masterclass, where we're going to be discussing the 3 keys of personal transformation and really how to get yourself from where you are now to where you want to be in a step-by-step process. So that's all for today's video. I hope you got a ton of value. And if you found something that was interesting, definitely hit that like button. Definitely leave a comment below. And just let me know, what challenges are you going through in your life right now? What limiting beliefs are you trying to overcome in your reality? So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Much love and peace.